All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast, live here on the Grid Network via YouTube and on X. I am Bryson Carver. I'm joined by Tim Barner. And Tim, where's Arthur? Wait, he's tardy again.
We got Frozone, we got Terminator Arthur. Now we have no-show Arthur.
It's unbelievable. He's going to join us, I'm sure, at some point in time. He's dealing with some issues with his computer, which is, you know, why we've given him the nickname. Well, you call him Terminator. I've called him Frozone when he's gone just AWOL, or at least computer's done so. But Tim, you blamed me last week for your Florida Gators terrible performance against Kentucky. Explain that to the audience.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I was talking the entire show that it was a foregone conclusion. Florida was going to kick Kentucky's ass because of the fact that Kentucky is not as talented, nowhere near as talented as Florida is. And then all of a sudden, you had to open your smart mouth and be like, oh, well, what if they lose? I mean, what are you going to do then? You throw it out of the friggin' ethosphere. Are you stupid or something? What if I say to you that Tennessee is going to lose to Kentucky, huh? How are you going to react then? And then Tennessee loses.
Because we're unjinxable against a team of the likes of Kentucky. We don't concern ourselves. The line does not concern himself.
You jinxed the college football gods. That's what it was. You tempted fate. You tempted fate.
You're 3-6, Tim. Next week's gonna be fun.
I know.
Next week's gonna be fun. Tennessee and
solid win. We had a solid win given to us, and then you had to go and tempt the college football gods and say, "Hey, what if they lose?"
I mean, I'm just it's college football. Anything can happen. Like you know this as well as anybody, Tim. And our guy Patrick's in the comments. Instead of delivering the chomp, Florida gets mauled by the University of Kentucky. Oh, did they? Listen. We all watch it, and you know, it was. What's that?
I said, luckily I didn't watch it.
Okay, I think Arthur's joining us, so here we go. Let's go and bring him on. Arthur Hurst, who is tardy into the show today. Maybe we got Arthur. Here he is, Arthur Hurst. How are you doing, my friend? And Frozone Arthur is back.
Oh, man.
There we go.
There it is.
Oh, no. Gotta love, technology. But we here.
Indeed. So let's go and jump right into our first segment, because we were actually going to wait for Arthur to come on to do our Ohio State topic, but let's go and do it. So there's been a discussion, excuse me, over the last few days, mostly stemming from the new 12-team college football playoff rankings. We'll go and show, excuse me, what it looks like after this week. So you got Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Bama as the quarterfinalists, followed by 5 seeds through 12 seed. Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, Miami, and then followed by South Florida, which we will talk about, during the segment throughout the show. But I'll ask you this first, Arthur, because there's been kind of this prevailing narrative, defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes, that schedule's been easy. And Dan Orlovsky even went on ESPN and said, hey, they're the least talented, or not least talented, least tested, number one seed in the history, at least to this point, in the college football playoff. Would you agree? And if not, how would you rebut that?
Listen, man, I'm going to be very short and quick on this topic, because I'm realist. I'm objective. Dude, yes, okay. I looked at the schedule even before the season, and it's like, okay, Texas, cool. And here's the thing, right? The biggest things I was looking forward to playing Oregon again this year. Schedule drop, no Oregon. Usually we play IU. There was no IU. But then you got to also remember, Bryson, it's because the conference did away with divisions. Once the conference did, which it's stupid. Honestly, I still don't know why they did that. It was the dumbest thing they could have done, because we got to see some really good matchups. IU would have been a great test for Ohio State to have. A second year in a row, or Oregon would have been a great test for Ohio State to have. So, yes, I understand people's, hesitation. And again, because I'm even hesitant. But at the same time, like, I forget the dude's name, but the guy who went on to spoke after Dan brought up Oregon last year. Well, Oregon didn't have, either a top 1 or top 2 quarterback in the NCAA. Oregon didn't have the best wide receiver core in the NCAA. Oregon didn't have the best defense in the NCAA. Oregon didn't have a running back room that is still growing, but shows at times that it's very dominant. That's the biggest hole right now in this Ohio State Buckeyes team, is the running game. Running block, I've said it the last few weeks. The run block has to be better. I don't know what's going on with our run protection. Our to the left, that's our best side. But for some reason, we just can't get anything really dialed in, especially in the second half when it comes to our running game. Our power back is CJ Donaldson. We got to be better, right? Fighting for those yards. Bo Lamar Jackson, whichever one you want to call him, he's been playing lights out, and he's definitely shown that he's the premier back of this group. Heck, Ryan Day even went 4 deep with Isaiah West last week, and Isaiah West is showing some promises. I'm looking like I've never seen a coach go 4 running backs deep before. And it just goes to show a testament of, just how deep the running back room is. Isaiah West is young. He's being able to grow. But last year it was Travion Henderson and Quinjon Judkins. James People got some touches here and there, but it was mainly those two. This year, again, it's just 4 running backs deep. But the run game for the Ohio State Buckeyes, it has to be better because everybody knows that we're going to be able to get it through the air, whether it's to Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, who was our vet guy, Max Clare, who was the transfer over from Purdue, who is the odd man left out. But because of all those other weapons on the field, he's a weapon in himself because he's the easy dump off for Julian Sayin in open space, again, that everybody forgets about. So, yeah, I get it, right? I really do. But there's just things about this team. Like Dan Orlovsky said, I want to see what this team does down by 4. Let's see. The entire time, and I texted this to you guys after Tim sent that clip. The entire time in the college football playoff last year, Ohio State wasn't, losing. So it's like if you bring back the best wide receiver, no, that's not true. I'm pretty sure we were down to Texas. going in the half when Travion Henderson scored that touchdown. We tied it up 14-14. That was the only time we were down. So let's see. You bring back Jeremiah Smith, you bring back Carnell Tate, right? And then you match that up with possibly, the guy who's going to win the Heisman Trophy in Julian Sayin. And then you bring back Caleb Downs, right? You lose Jack Sawyer, right? You lose JT to a while. You lose all these guys. You bring back Caleb Downs. You bring in Arvell Reese, transfer from North Carolina. This front 4, this defensive 4 is still easily one of the best in college football. I'm sorry. I want to see what teams do when they come by 4 to us. Because right now it just shows and again, I said I was going to be quick on this, but things just coming into my mind. Right now, this team is being coached like it's an NFL team. Matt Patricia is treating this defense like they're pros, not like they're college football players. You know what I'm saying? Like the way he's able to use these guys, Arvell Reese as the QB spot. Caleb Downs can be on the backside doing whatever he wants to do. Or if Caleb Downs is going to come in and just mess stuff up right there at the line, he's able to do that. But there's so many things about this team to where it's just like, it doesn't look like a college team. They look like pros out there that's just playing college football. So that's what I'm saying is like, it's going to be different. When you're going to be coaching against this team, it's going to be different. And we were talking about having us down by 4, dog. It just feels like, nah, man, that isn't going to happen. And the last few weeks, Coach Ryan Day has shown, I want to put my foot down early on these teams. Now, our biggest test is going to be Michigan, right? And I hope he does the same thing to them. Because if he does that to Michigan, hey, look, we're going to put our foot down. Don't run the ball. Okay, let's not try to, hey, we're going to run this on the trenches and no, dog. We haven't been able to do that since C.J. Stroud was our starting quarterback.
Right.
So let's not try to maintain the run game and act like, no, just let Julian Sayin throw the ball and make their defense have to react. And then our defense is going to do what they have to do against Bryce Underwood. If we blow Michigan out of the water, that's kicked our behind the last few years, and that was the ammo in our back to winning that national championship last year. The rest of the college football playoff, whoever's in it, going to have to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe not. They haven't had one true test all season. But damn it, they look very, very scary. And we're going to have to do a whole lot of, go ahead, triple up Jeremiah Smith if you want to. Number 17 finds a way to create separation. Right? I get it that the teams that we've played may not be the Oregons, the Alabamas, and whoever else, but that's still Carnell freaking Tate. a wide receiver one anywhere else. Okay, we still Jeremiah Smith. That's still Julian Sanya. So I get the narrative because I was like that beginning of the season and throughout the season. But I just feel too confident in this team to where it's like, if we get down by 4, you need to be worried. You need to be worried because if you do not blow this team out, if you don't blow this team out and punch them in the mouth early, they're going to recover, adjust, do whatever they got to do, and then win the game.
And the thing is, too, like, the point I would make, I get that they haven't been tested, but they've taken care of everybody on their schedule. It's not like they're playing with their food. It's not like they're messing around and ending up in close games with, some of the mid to bad teams in the Big Ten. But it's also a matter of, from Michigan on, every single game will be a test. You'll talk about Michigan, in all likelihood, Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, and then obviously in the playoffs. So, this idea that, because they haven't played tough competition, they won't be ready. We saw them going around the playoff with players, as you mentioned. Would you agree with that, Tim, as far as, they haven't been tested, they haven't quite been the, at least certainly relative to like an Indiana or like to an Alabama or Texas A&M or teams like that? Would you agree with that statement made by Orlovsky the other day on ESPN?
Yeah, of course. How could you not agree with that statement? The closest that Ohio State could have come to a test, and something that I think we all marked off on our calendar as a test for Ohio State, was Penn State just a couple of weeks ago. But obviously they just collapsed out of nowhere, and then that game became useless to all of us. So that should have been the test. And, Arthur, I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous how expanding to 16 teams, to 18 teams, has eliminated all the divisions. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but this is why it goes to the point that the SEC is the much better conference, because you have tests every single week. I don't care if it's Mississippi State. Hell, I'll say it. I don't care if it's Kentucky. I don't care if it's, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss. Like, all of these teams, they are high caliber, excellent teams that will punch you in the mouth if you're not prepared. And when you look at the rest of all the conferences, and this is why, sure, do I have SEC bias because I went to Florida, worked for the football team, and, I'm a Florida Gator fan? Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. But if I want to be objective, if I want to look at this and say that, just who is the best conference as a whole, it's clearly the SEC. Because the Big Ten, okay, yeah, you got Ohio State, you got Indiana, you got Oregon. For Indiana and Oregon, how long is that going to last? Then you got Michigan on the rise. Outside of those 4 teams, where are the other schools? What the hell else are they doing? Minnesota got their asses handed to them by Oregon last night. And it was so funny because they're down 28-6. They score a touchdown, and the announcer's like, Minnesota's back in it. You're still down 15 points midway through the third, but still, you really think that Minnesota's going to come back? No, of course not. And I'm a big PJ Fleck guy. So when I look at it, yeah, Ohio State hasn't been tested. They went on an absolute tear last year in the college football playoff. And kind of going to Taylor Lewan's point, which he talks near the end of the clip, they went on a tear because they lost to Michigan.
Yep.
If they didn't lose to Michigan, I don't know. I'm not saying that Ohio State was not the best team last year. But if they don't lose to Michigan, do they go on that run? I don't think so. I don't think they beat Oregon and punch them in the mouth the way they did. I still think they beat Oregon, but I don't think it's an absolute blowout in the Rose Bowl like it was.
Dude, they had no choice. Ryan Day had to feel the fire from that freaking hot seat. Because, when I tell you, we wanted him out of here.
Oh, yeah.
We do. Like, you saw who's the slick dude with the slick back hair? Frick. I don't know why I can't remember these guys' names right now. But there was a guy from I think it was ESPN, or somewhere that came to Ohio State, that came to Columbus, Ohio, and was just doing interviews like throughout the area. And he was like, like, y'all want Ryan Day gone and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, dude, like, yeah, we do. Because I look at that big game record. That's what I look at. And it's like, we can't get it done when we need to get it done. And again, the last 4 years, losing to Michigan, bro, you're not Harbaugh who can get away with that at Michigan. Quarterback and all that stuff. And they were willing to be patient with him. Dog, we've been whooping Michigan's ass for God knows how long. That was under Urban Meyer. And you know how Urban Meyer coached. So it's like, yeah, nah, man, we wanted him out of here. So I don't just agree with Tim. I'm letting Tim know, no, that Michigan loss was needed. Because if we don't lose that game, I don't think we go there at all. Even with that stacked team, we paid, I don't know how much money in that team, the number one paid team NIL in college football. But yeah, no, we don't lose to Michigan. No, we're not going.
So in terms of the least tested team, your biggest test obviously was week 1 versus Texas. And that year, you really were only tested on offense. Arch Manning was horrendous offensively. So, your defense, you could say, wasn't really tested in that game, but your offense surely was, and you scored 14 points, enough to win the game. But that was, again, week 1, where every school in the U.S. is still trying to figure out who the hell they are as a football team in week 1. And listen, I'm not saying that just because you're not tested doesn't mean you're not going to win the national championship. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised, kind of like the NFL. I wouldn't be surprised if being the least tested team actually benefits you because you're not playing hard competition. You're getting up 21-0, 28-0, 35-0. And at that point, you're like, guys, we have this in the bag. Second stringers, get out there, and you're saving your starters for something real down the road. So I'm not saying that Ohio State can't win it all, and it might even benefit them because they're not being punched in the mouth and having a team that is on par with them. So overall, yeah, I feel like sometimes the narrative of least tested is just to fill airtime because there's nothing else to talk about. Like, how else are you going to talk about Ohio State? Oh, yeah, we keep winning every week. Yeah, Roz, a really good team, guys. And, yeah, all right, next. What else we're going to say?
And the thing is, too, with Ohio State is, and I'll just go ahead and say this on the record, so Michigan's, as you guys have pointed out, Michigan's had their number. And I think last year, kind of the turning point for Ryan Day was, okay, it's one thing to lose to Harbaugh. It's another thing to lose to Sherrone Moore when Sherrone Moore doesn't have a quarterback. Like that was where it got pretty ugly in Columbus. And I remember saying at the time, because, your Buckeyes played my Vols in the playoff. I'm like, this is going to be a blowout one way or the other. Either Ohio State's going to come out with their hair on fire playing for Ryan Day, or Tennessee's going to come in, team quits on Ryan Day. And we obviously know what ended up happening. But I think it's a test on the road against Michigan in a couple of weeks in the Big House. You win that game, and if it's 1 versus 2, you versus Indiana in the Big Ten title game, and you win that, I'm going to go on the record and say it's a foregone conclusion Ohio State's going to win the Natty. Because it's like a whole thing, you haven't been tested, and then if you go on the road to the Big House, a team that's kind of owned you and get a W, and then you beat Indiana, who some have made the argument they should be number 1 because of their strength of schedule and more impressive wins than Ohio State, I think that'll bode well for the Buckeyes, so we'll see how it plays out.
And here's the last thing I want to say, Bryson, on this. How can you be tested when you're the test?
Ooh. It's a good line.
Again, hey, yeah, IU's going to be, our test, but we're going to be IU's biggest test of the season. So the narrative going into that shouldn't be, Ohio State. Nah, the narrative got to be, is Kirk Cincinnati ready? Is Indiana really here? Can they win this game? That'll prove if they really here. We lose. Okay, cool. We lose. I still think we'll be in the college football playoff.
Oh, gosh,
and then again, you got to worry about, damn, last time they lost, they had a battery in their back, and they went on a mother freaking tear.
They did. No question about it. Another team, the team that ended up beating in the national championship was Notre Dame. And, let me go and put up the rankings back up, because Notre Dame right now, as we sit here today, would be the 9 seed and going to Autzen to play the Oregon Ducks in the first round of the playoff. There's been a lot of kind of buzz like, man, Oregon's kind of the beneficiary of brand bias, because obviously they made the Natty last year. They start 0-2 this year. And outside of USC, they really don't have a signature win. Now, they play Pitt today, and that could be a good ranked win for them. But other than that, strength of schedule, not great outside of the first 2 games. I'll ask you this, Tim. Do you think Notre Dame is the beneficiary today of brand bias in the college football playoff?
So when you break that down, of course they are. When you see the ND, the Fighting Irish, of course they are. But it's also warranted. It's not like this is another independent team. It's not like it's UConn, or it's not like it's, when Navy used to be an independent. They're not a bad program. So even though, yeah, sure, you can sit there and say that, everyone can get all butthurt and, annoyed and pissed off. Oh, they should be in a conference. They need to share that money with NBC with us. Because honestly, that's why everyone hates Notre Dame. Come on now. But overall, though, yeah, they warrant what they get. They lost the first 2 games of the year going down 0-2. And not for nothing, I still think they got screwed by the refs against A&M, which is their second loss. They should have been 1-1 after week 2. Otherwise, they're still a good team and much better than a lot of these other teams that are vying for, the college football playoff. Now, are they good enough to go home and take the Natty for the first time since 1988? I don't think so. But that's the beauty about the playoff, is you have a team like Notre Dame who, yes, is good enough to be in there, even with 2 losses, as long as they win out, that, hey, we'll see what happens. Otherwise, the more I keep talking, the more I'm kind of convincing myself it's not necessarily brand bias. I think it is brand bias to an extent, but I think also, too, that, no, the team that Marcus Freeman has put together since Brian Kelly left, and the recruiting that he's done and the talent that he's put together, yeah, they are a true contender for the playoff. And, once you hit the playoff, anything can happen. So, again, I think it's a little bit both. But, everybody out there who hates Notre Dame because, oh, my God, they're not in a conference, is saying that they shouldn't be in the playoff until they get into a conference, which, hey, when they can do what they do, when they can sign the contracts they sign, and you have TV money getting thrown at them just for being Notre Dame, why the hell would you want to join a conference and split that money up with anybody else?
100%. I think that's just common sense on their part. And my thing is, it'd be one thing if they had been blown out by Miami or Texas A&M. Then maybe we have a little bit of a conversation. Both of those games came down the wires. You said maybe some officiating breaks go in their favor. They probably do beat Texas A&M, who last I checked, they play in the SEC and they haven't lost yet. So Notre Dame's played a great football since. Would you agree with that, Arthur? Do you think they're the beneficiary of brand bias, or do you think it's a situation where, okay, they've earned their right to at least be the 9th seed in the playoff as we sit here today?
Dude, it's the same thing with Texas. Texas is number 10. Is that brand bias? Nah, they're 7-2. Yes, they've had rough stretches of the season. I said that, that they were dead in the water. Arch Manning has been playing well. I don't know if it's going to be well enough to, get them to a title and stuff like that. But nah, it's Notre Dame, dog. Right? Same thing with Texas. It's Texas. And we all know this. Money talks. So there's not much to say here. They're a really good football team. What can we say? Marcus Freeman's in his, 4th year? And he's put that team together the way he's wanted to put it together. Those guys clearly believe in him. They bought in, right? So they got the roster. Biggest thing that they need to, improve on, in my opinion, is their quarterback situation. But other than that,
Carr's not bad.
He's not bad. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a position where if when it comes down to it, can you help us win, or are we going to lose?
Sure.
Right. So that's my thing, is like, okay, like those first 2 games, like you said, they came down the wire and everything. Texas A&M, not their fault, officiating, stuff like that. And they've been able to be dominant, right? The rest of their schedule, they've been able to be dominant. But will their quarterback be able to take care of it when it comes down to it? Time will tell. But they're 7-2, right? Texas is right underneath them, 7-2. Is that brand bias? I don't think so. They're just ended up being a really good football team who started off rocky. They've had some up and downs throughout the season, but they're 7-2. It just so happens it's Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It just so happens it's Texas Longhorn football. Sometimes those things go together.
Oh, sometimes they do. And I think too and if we talk about brand bias, that's one thing. I think another thing that might very well come into the picture here is they want to have the best college football players in the college football playoff. For example, like Jeremiah Love is the example I would get. Like Jeremiah Love's the best back in all of college football. He's firmly in the Heisman discussion. Jeremiah Love had a big time, CFP last year. Would you like to see him again? Notre Dame trying to get revenge this year. Maybe they play Ohio State again. So I think that comes to the picture. And something else, a team that is, I think we all agree here, is not going to win a national championship, may not even win a playoff game, is USF. So USF, as we say here today, is the 12th seed in the playoff. There's been kind of a lot of buzz as of late about this group of 5 situation. Paul Feinbaum in particular went on ESPN. He said it's like letting a minor league baseball team, into the MLB postseason. I'll ask you first, Tim. Would you agree that forget just the USC component, USF component rather, but the group of 5 component, having somebody outside of the Power 4 make the playoffs almost by default? Do you think that's bad for the playoff, and do you think they should change that?
So I got 2 questions for you guys. The first one, when we're putting the college football playoff together, who do you want in? And take out all the conferences, take out everything. Do you want the best of the best in there, or do you want the best of some, but really the best, all the rest of others? Like, who do you want?
I mean, in theory, you want the best 12 teams, obviously.
Yeah,
of course. And I think we can all agree to that. The best 12 teams do not include any group of 5.
Okay.
Am I right?
I mean, that's here's the point I would make.
It's a tough question. I'm not sitting here trying to say that USF does suck, but no, I'm just saying that when you're trying to put this together, and the funny part is I had a second question, totally gone.
Saturday morning.
But yeah, exactly. But when you're trying to put this together, and everyone, Bryson, yourself included, was talking about how Paul Feinbaum, Mr. SEC, he's got such an SEC bias, it's not even funny. Again, what did I say 10 minutes ago? The SEC as a whole is by far the best conference in college football. When you and it's funny because I want to say it wasn't this. It was another reel I saw from Josh Pate, who was in that video with Dan Orlovsky. He was talking about there could be a potential where you have 7 teams in the SEC in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And to that, I was kind of like, that is I don't want to say the best outcome, but in terms of for the whole, but if we're looking at this college football playoff as the best of the best, then it doesn't matter if USF wins the American. It doesn't matter if Houston wins the Big 12. It doesn't matter because when you want the best schools. Oh, and this was my second question. Are we using this college football playoff to determine the most legitimate national champion, or are we using this college football playoff to be March Madness football edition?
Well, that's part of the question because, March Madness has even had discussions about expanding, which I don't see the point in that. 68 teams is a lot. But I guess that I think is part of it is, hey, let's have the potential for maybe like a shocking upset in the first round. Like if USF shocked the world and beat Georgia and Athens, what a crazy story that would be.
Cam Scatterbo and Arizona State had the shocking upset in the first round. But again, their Cinderella story fell short the next game. And like my issue with this is we're so focused on trying to get the group of 5 winners. Now, I've been saying for a very long time that even when they had the college football playoff as the best of 4, I was saying that we should go to 8 teams. It should be the 5 conference winners. And this is back when it was the Power 5. And it should be the 5 conference winners and then 3 other schools. That's it. It doesn't matter. If you don't win your conference, you should be rewarded for winning your conference. I don't care if you're 9-4 or if you're, did I do that math? No.
Yeah, they could be 9-4, 8-4.
I don't care if you're 8-4 or 9-4 with the conference win. Yeah. If you're 9-4 or 13-0, I don't care. If you win the conference, your slot's in. Now you're the 5th seed, but you're still there. And then that team that was undefeated and then lost that game is now the 6th seed. But my point is, it all depends on how you view the college football playoff. Do you view this as a March Madness 2.0, or do you want to determine a legitimate national championship? Because in college football, for a very long time before the BCS ever showed up, you had multiple teams claiming national championships. And some teams were claiming national championships when they had 3 freaking losses to the rest of the teams who had 1 or none. So college football has never had a legitimate national champion. And so when going into this college football playoff era, and now with the 12-team era, my view is I want the best of the best, and that is the talent, that is the teams, and unfortunately, it's going to be the logos. When I look at USF, when I look at UCF, when I look at, all these other schools, hell, the ACC as one, and we had this conversation last night, because after you jokingly were like, okay, can I take Louisville off my top 25? And I was in my point is Louisville before last night was a top 25 team. Now, were they playoff legitimate? I don't know. But if Louisville went to go on and win the ACC, or does go on to win the ACC, do you really want them in the college football playoff after losing to freaking Clemson the way they did last night? They couldn't hit a kick to save their lives. 3 tries. And that's just one thing. And not to mention that Clemson was giving that game away. They were doing everything in their power to lose that game, and Louisville couldn't take the cheese. So I want the best of the best. And you know what? If that means we have an all SEC and 2, maybe 3 Big Ten teams, doesn't that mean we have the best of the best?
I mean, certainly in theory, the point I would make to kind of to say that the group of 5 is, again, there'll be years like this year where it's like, oh, they got no chance against, the 5 seed. Last year, Boise State doesn't even need to be the group of 5 team because they had such a great season. They end up getting, and they changed the bye rules with winning a conference, but they end up getting a first round bye because of Ashton Genty, and they had a close loss against Oregon and a great schedule. Ends up being Clemson, who's the group of 5 team. And sort of the question I would pose is, as I don't want to say mid because they won 9 games.
Who did Boise State beat again?
I mean, UNLV was a good team last year, to be fair, but they did compete with Oregon, who was the number one team in the country.
No. In the playoff, who did they beat?
Oh, nobody. They lost to Penn State.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a fair point. They shouldn't have gotten a bye, and I'm glad that they changed that rule to where the conference championship doesn't automatically give you a bye. What I would say is this: Clemson was the last team in, right? They were the 12 seed, won the ACC by the skin of their teeth against SMU. The debate was, okay, in a playoff like you were suggesting, Tim, where it's like straight up the best 12 teams, the debate would have been between Clemson and Alabama. I would have put Clemson for the simple fact that, yeah, Bama lost to two teams that wouldn't have been bowl eligible had they not beaten Alabama. Like, Alabama hurt themselves last year in terms of missing the playoff. We've had years, I mean, UCF back in 2017, they claimed a national championship, obviously, which was crazy, but they ended up beating Auburn, who beat Bama and Georgia, obviously.
Yeah, but Auburn didn't play all their best players. They didn't try. This is the problem with the bowl system in that regard is now these kids are looking at the NFL as their step, as, hey, listen, I'm already good enough. I've already solidified my draft stock, and the only way I'm going to be able to improve it is at the combine or at my pro day. Otherwise, why am I going to risk getting hurt to play in this bowl game where I'm not even playing for the national championship? I don't care.
That's another conversation I don't want to get into today because that also irks me. That irks the hell out of me, dog.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It sucks. It sucks to have these guys do that. But at the same time, this is why UCF is claiming the national championship because, oh my God, they beat Auburn. But this is where I say this on my show all the time. This is where analytics and reading a box score means jack. Because when you actually look at it and you actually break it down, which Auburn team were they playing? Were they playing the Auburn team that deserved to get into that bowl game? Or were they playing the Auburn team where the players were looking out in their best interest and didn't give a damn because they weren't playing in the college football playoff? That's the big issue with that. So, moving forward, again, when looking at this playoff, and trust me, you have the CFP committee talking about expanding this to make it
that
more.
would be a mistake. That would be a mistake.
Exactly. So with that, how are we using this college football playoff? Are we using it to find the most legitimate national champion, or are we using it to be March Madness? Because if we're using this to be March Madness, then fine. Let the group of five in. Let's expand it a little bit. Let's just keep throwing teams in there that have absolutely no business being on the same field as Ohio State, being on the same field as Alabama, A&M. Okay? Let's do that. Or are we trying to find the most legitimate national champion that college football has ever had in its history? I would argue Ohio State was that last year, even though they lost. Otherwise, if we're gonna do the latter, then we need to actually examine who gets in and look at the teams and how they play and who they play. If we're doing that, then it's going to be an SEC with a couple of Big Ten teams. That's just a legitimate fact.
The biggest mistake was expanding to 12 and not to 8. Eight feels fair. There was a stretch there where it felt like the last year, the 14 playoff, do we all think Alabama was better than Florida State? Absolutely. But it does feel a little unfair. Golly, they went undefeated in the ACC. It feels like they should have at least deserved a shot, even with the injuries to their quarterback, and that was a different discussion. But that 8 feels like – what's that?
I was going to say, when we're talking about the Florida State issue, I got a few Florida State fans, Florida State friends, and I said to them straight up, I go, listen, you guys deserve to get into the playoff if Jordan Travis stayed healthy.
Oh, no question.
The fact that he wasn't healthy changed the entire tone of your team, and you couldn't play offense, which is why I agree that Florida State did not get in, even though they did win out.
Sure. No, I agree as well. I just think there's also an element of, and then I'll pose the question to you, Arthur, but there's also an element of, if you didn't make the 14 playoff, you almost feel like you kind of got screwed in some way. Strength of schedule is kind of a heated debate. If you didn't get in 12, Sorry, like it's and I understand your point, Tim. Like, okay, do you want the best 12 teams in? But there's also an element of, okay, there's the 4 conference champions, group of 5 team. There's still another 7 spots available. Like, you control your own destiny over the course of the season. Would you agree with that, Arthur? Do you think USF has no business being in, or do you think that the group of 5, 12 seed thing is nonsense for the playoff?
Here's what I think. I think that sometimes experimentation is required, right? A lot of us were knocking the 4-team system after a while because we saw, I was like, okay, SEC base, ACC base, Big Ten base, all of that stuff, right? And now we're at 12, and I think a few things really made us look like, okay, this is weird. We talked about it just now, Boise State. We talked about Arizona State. I also think Oregon. Right, because you look at Oregon on that bye, and then you look at them when they ended up playing Ohio State. It was like, yo, huh? Dang, okay. Well,
We cheated.
yeah. All right. Well, okay. All right. Back to the drawing board. I think you make this jump from 4 to 12. So at some point in time, you can go down to 8.
Oh, you think they'll go down? See,
I don't think they have a choice but to, dog. I think this is experimenting. I honestly think this has to be an experiment because I don't see how this lasts.
So Arthur, all right, they moved down to 8. What does the 8-team playoff look like in your world?
I agree with you. You got to win your conference. You got to win your conference.
Even if you have 4 losses and you make the conference championship and you win.
But that's the tough part.
Well, it's just like the NFL. You win your division with 8 wins, you still win your division. Like, I mean, we have precedent for this in other sports.
So, I mean, it would be horrifying. It would be a horrifying thing to watch. It would be bad.
Are you looking at it where, again, kind of the way I framed it, where it's 5 conference champions, and again, I was going based on the Power 5, where you had SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC, and the Big 12. That was my format because that was the perfect world. We had it so perfect, and then they ruined it. Damn it!
And it's going now.
It was so good, but they are you looking at it that way? The 5 conference champions, no matter what, and then 3 extras. I'm just genuinely curious.
You bring up the Power 5 point, and I completely forgot. Dude, do you see where I still think about Power 5, dog? Do you see what, bro? You're right though. We had it, but then when you want to bring USC into the Big Ten, it's like, okay, again, we understand money, sure, but come on, man. Like at this point, what are we? Greed is greed, and it's bad, and it's messing everything up. Like, come on now.
Blame the Pac-12 commissioner for being greedy, and that's why all the West Conference schools left. And
yeah. So dang. Okay. What? I don't know now.
Sorry.
I don't know. I guess.
Sorry,
it's true though. You're right. You're right. So I guess this isn't experimenting. I guess this is where we're going to be stuck at for a while, and.
You're suggesting that they might go from 12 to 8. There's one reason they're not going to 8.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, there's no way that they're going to say, you know what? Let's have less college football playoff games, so there's less TV revenue, less tickets sold. No, they're not going to do that.
And what Tim was saying about Cinderella stories and March Madness stuff, like it works in basketball. Like that's part of the lore of college basketball. Our Cinderella stories. College football,
different ball game.
We don't care, right? Arizona State, cool, beautiful. Happy for Cam Scatterboo and everything. Boise State and National Gentry, again, historic season, everything, cool, beautiful thing. But do we really want to? No, we don't. Again, there's just a different lore with March Madness because it is. This is part of it. This isn't part. A Cinderella story isn't part of college football because the last time we had a Cinderella type story, it was TCU. And what happened to TCU with that national championship game? They got their doors knocked off them by the Georgia Bulldogs,
and that was the 14 playoff too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this: we do have very few Cinderella stories, i.e., Boise State, Oklahoma, 2007 Fiesta Bowl. But how they had to get there was insane. You know, the Statue of Liberty, the hook and lateral, they pulled all the stops in order to get that Fiesta Bowl win. Otherwise, again, off the top of my head, that's really the only Cinderella story I can think of. And I don't even consider TCU a Cinderella story because of how that ended. You know, a Cinderella story means you win. You get everything. You know? And again, it's just, that's the, and again, are there others? Absolutely. Sure there are. But, and this is why I posed the question the way I did. Are we using the college football playoff to determine the best of the best, or are we using the college football playoff to be March Madness football edition?
It's a fair question to pose. It definitely is.
This might be my bias, but in terms of Cinderella stories in this college football playoff, again, this may be my bias, but the number one thing that comes to my head is when Ohio State was ranked number 4. And in 2014, when it was the initial year, because, dog, it was like, dang, do they deserve to be here?
They came in the conference championship week like 8th or something, and then they just blow the doors off Wisconsin. I think it's 59-0.
And it was like, okay, do they deserve this? And then we just go on to do what we do, right? So committee, hey, nationally televise this, please. Can we get back to doing that? NBA lottery, nationally televise this stuff, please, dog. Give us something as fans to where we can look at this and be like, okay, cool, we trust y'all. But don't go back to going behind closed doors. I'm getting tired of this.
No more smoke-filled rooms.
Yeah. So it's like the NFL owners then who hate the report cards.
Yeah, the only ones who want them, gone are the Woody Johnsons of the Jets of the world, right? All right, let's go and get to Buckeyes Breakfast. It's now time for Buckeyes Breakfast with Arthur Hurst. Arthur, take it away, buddy.
Oh, we on a right screen? Oh, my goodness. Oh, I must be frozen. Hey, can y'all see me? Wow. Oh, my gosh. Gotta look.
We got you, buddy.
We go. Oh, I was about to cry, man. What's going on, y'all? It's Buckeye Breakfast with me, Arthur Hurst. Listen, I know Bryson can't wait to see this game. I don't even know if he's going to watch it, but I'm sure he's going to be looking forward to me reporting on the fact that UCLA gets their doors blown off. Now, I am upset that Nico Iamaleava is not playing. He's out with a concussion, and that's good. Well, no. Okay, hang on. That was a little messed up. It's good he's out. It's not good he's out with the concussion, but it's good he's out because this Ohio State defense would have given him the absolute fight of his life for the second year in a row. He was at Tennessee. He played very well in that second half. He didn't give up for the Volunteers. But, dog, come on. You weren't beating us. I'm sorry. Not up here when y'all were trying to flex, acting like y'all weren't cold and all of this. We used to this weather. Man, y'all showed that y'all wasn't ready for that game. Now you guys come out in this. Now he's the starting quarterback. Nico is of UCLA. He will not be playing in this game. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be another fun one. I believe it's going to be another W. It's going to be another Heisman campaign opportunity for Julian Sayin. It's going to be another Heisman campaign opportunity for Jeremiah Smith. Now, we know these things, same thing with the MVP, the NFL. It's a quarterback-based, I believe, award, right? Quarterbacks are going to get the benefit of the doubt. Julian Sayin is balling for Ohio State. Fernando Mendoza for IU is balling. He had a heck of a freaking game-winning drive last week. Listen, Tim, I've got him number 1. I got Julian Sayin number 2. I'm not mad at the way either of those quarterbacks are playing right now, Mendoza and Julian Sayin. They are playing phenomenal. Outside of also Ty Simpson, those are the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks right now in college football, and they're not going to be going in the draft this year. But for Ohio State, I talked about it a little bit earlier. That running game, we got to get that solid. We have to get that solid because I know how Ryan Day coaches. Especially against certain teams. That's why I'm not scared to play Michigan, but I'm like, man, if we do not start off fast, if we do not start off hot, and let Julian Sayin do what Julian Sayin does, that's going to be a dogfight game. And I don't think it should be. Michigan is a really good team, yes, but there's way too much talent loaded on this Ohio State roster. And when that offense is not churning, and we've seen that the last few years, when that offense is not churning, that defense is doing everything they can. But at the end of the day, you know what? We're out here a lot more than you guys. This running game is wearing us down to where now JJ McCarthy is out here able to do what he wants to do if he wants to pass. And it's just like, dang, again, we got Sharon Moore winning games against us last year. That should not have happened. So Ohio State has to find some way to get this running game together. Our run block has to improve because everybody's going to know that's our kryptonite. Last year was different with Travion Henderson and Quinjon Judkins. Right now, those two are killing it in the NFL in their rookie seasons, and they're not there. So Bo Lamar Jackson, again, whichever one you want to call him, he's going to have to step up. He's the premier back. He's playing very well. But especially if Ryan Day wants to go 4 running backs deep all the way down to Isaiah West, this running back room has to be clicking. This run block, it has to be clicking. Because man, when Ryan Day gets to, I want to show my big stick and I want to show how tough we are, man, if that running back room is not doing what it needs to do, right? And our passing game is suffering also, that I don't want to. Oh, again, I'm not scared, but I am worried because I know how Ryan Day coaches. It's not going to happen today against UCLA. This one is going to be a dominant win in fashion. They're a 33 point win, 33 and a half win favorite. I believe they're going to cover. I believe it's going to be a smackdown here at the Horseshoe. I believe Columbus, Ohio is going to have a very great time tonight at 7:30. It's a night game too. Oh, I love some night games in Columbus, Ohio. And it's cold, right? UCLA, again, they're not used to that weather, right? So you want to see how Columbus, Ohio cold gets, right? And y'all going to lose, right? By a very, very huge margin in the Horseshoe. Again, I'm going to love it. Ohio State fans are going to love it. But this is part of that game, right? This is one of those games where you see where this running game is. You see where this running game is. Running back room, I believe, is very solid with, again, Bo Lamar Jackson, James People, CJ Donaldson, and Isaiah West. Isaiah West is showing promise, not just out of the backfield, but they're also able to catch passes and take them up the field as well. He's showing very promise as the youngest running back in this room. But that run block, we have to be better. Too many times we're getting blown up and letting that defensive line come up. We're letting that linebacker come up. And I believe that's also, again, just part of the youth of that running back room. Knowing who to block, knowing where to block, knowing when to block, stuff like that. Like, that's where it's like, this 4 deep running back, it's tricky. It's tricky because assignments are varying between guys, right? And when you go into the college football playoff, you want to make sure everybody understands and knows their assignment. And you want as little weaknesses, a little chinks in the armor to show as possible going in there. You don't want your weaknesses to really be able to show. You want to be able to address everybody else's weaknesses, right? In that running game, that is the biggest weakness of this Ohio State football team, not just the offense of this team. That defense is outstanding. Again, I said it earlier. Right now, this team is coaching pros. Matt Patricia is coaching pros on that defense. They're playing a very, very pro style defense in the NFL. Again, these are NFL guys playing college football. We just waiting to see what NFL team they're going to be playing for in the future. That's it. I'm not worried about that Ohio State defense at all. I'm not even really worried about this Ohio State offense. I'm just worried about if that running game, if that running game gets to clicking, I have nothing to say about the Ohio State Buckeyes. The trophy is theirs for the taking. It all comes down to how they're able to run that ball. We can't start games off trying to run the ball, try to find it, during the game. But let's let the air attack continue killing the teams, open up that field a little bit more, take guys out the box, and then let your running backs do what they got to do. And now we can go balanced if we want to. Now we can chew clock if we want to, because that's what Ryan Day loves to do. We're going to get up big. All right, cool. We're going to chew clock. We're going to, run the ball a little bit, see what our O-line does and stuff like that. He's been able to do that the last few weeks and get away with it. Cool. When Michigan comes, are we going to be able to do the same thing? When it gets to the college football playoff, are we going to do the same thing? All of this right now is just building opportunities to get better. That running back room has to get better, and I believe it will. I believe in this team. I believe in that O-line. I believe in that running back room. I believe in Coach Day, right? So I'm not scared. I'm not even really worried. I'm just, all right. That's our biggest question mark. But again, we got UCLA today. They're going to be the next stepping stone, and they're going to be the next quote unquote, test for this running back room. I believe we're going to get this dub today, and it'll be just fine. That's Buckeye Breakfast with me, Arthur Hurst. We'll be back with the Saturday Morning Tailgate after this break.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast live on the Grid Network. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Before we get to our top 25s, I did just want to say this. I don't want to speak for the other two gentlemen with me, but 4 days, 4 days late. A happy Veterans Day, belated happy Veterans Day to all of our incredible servicemen and women who have go out there and serve this country with honor, with dignity, and do it in an incredible way. We couldn't do it in this country without you. So just want to give you guys an amazing shout out because you guys are the best. All right, let's go and get into our top 25 list. We're going to start with you, Tim, and go and put up Tim's top 25. We can find it here. There it is. Tim, go and tell us what you got here.
All right, I think this is pretty straightforward. Of course, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, all three undefeated. Again, I'm not going to change anything. Yes, Indiana does have a slightly better strength of schedule, as we discussed earlier. But again, it's they nearly fell to Penn State last week. So great Heisman moment for Mendoza, but otherwise, they're still undefeated. Then I got Bama, Ole Miss, Oregon, Georgia, 8-1, 9-1 for Ole Miss. Texas Tech coming off a massive win versus BYU last week to solidify, which top 10 team was better. And I guess the Mormons couldn't play, fit up to that level right there. But then you got Notre Dame and Vanderbilt to round out my top 10. Moving on to 11, I got Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, Texas. Now, this was interesting because we had OU, Georgia Tech, Texas, Michigan, Utah, all on byes last week. And a lot of the top 25 that I had near the end of it all lost, or at least most of them lost. So it was a very interesting week, but I moved all the teams up that I could: OU, Georgia Tech, Texas, Michigan, USC. And USC had a big-time win versus Northwestern, absolutely crushing them at home, 38-17 last Friday. And then I got Miami, then BYU falling, from 8-17. Utah, Tennessee, also coming off a bye. Missouri having a tough loss last week to A&M, 38-17. Then at 21 through 25, these are the teams that I really don't expect much from, but I still think some of them are good enough. In other words, Virginia, Iowa. I even though Iowa did lose last week, they put up one hell of a fight against Oregon. So I really like that out of them, and I feel like they could beat a lot of other teams. And then Louisville obviously lost to Clemson last night in a heartbreaker. Then you got Houston and SMU. And if you're asking me why is USF not on there, simple, fake team. So
that's fair. I mean, listen, it's fair, and I think it's a tradition unlike any other. Is the upset ACC loss on a Friday night right before our show after we've already submitted our top 25. Yep. It makes us look like geniuses.
This is why we shouldn't put any ACC team in our top 25, right?
None at all. I mean, Georgia Tech, to be fair.
Georgia Tech. Yeah.
We'll see what they do against Georgia in a couple weeks. That'll be kind of their.
Isn't that why they lost? Didn't they lose on a Friday?
I don't
know. I'm just kidding. It was a
Yeah,
joke.
for sure. I
That
think they
one
lost
loss,
NC
yeah.
State. Yeah, but no, we'll see how it plays out for them. I do respect your consistency on this USF thing. Like it's, I mean, their signature win is, no offense, Florida.
Yeah, and
I
Florida left that game more than friggin' USF beat us.
Napier botched the clock in a major way.
Not just he botched everything about that game, not just the clock. I mean, that was absolutely atrocious. And listen, I'm a big DJ Lagway guy, but good God, where was the DJ Lagway that won the last 4 games of the season last year?
Where's he been all season long is the question. Yeah, forget that game.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying the last 4 games, he looked like the next guy. So I'm saying that, yeah, USF, not a good team. And what, you want to hang your hat on Boise State and us? Please.
That's fair. I respect you not putting in the top 25. Arthur, let's go and put up your list. Let's see what we got here. How do you feel about this, Arthur?
Top 3, easy. Ohio State, IU, Texas A&M. Dude, I was watching that IU game, and I'm not going to lie. I thought they were dead. I'm like, yeah, 0 timeouts. They ain't got a lot of time left. And Fernando Mendoza looked like an NFL quarterback out there, dog. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, dang, it don't matter who your state coach is. They're going to lose. That was my thought. I'm like, my goodness, I'm like, how do y'all let this IU team, and you can see Kirk Cignetti somebody need to check his draws after that game, because I know there were some brown stains in his pants. I was like, dude, how in the world do you literally have them knocked down, 0 timeouts, and then you let Mendoza just go on that absolute legacy? Heisman, when we talk about Heisman and him potentially winning it, it's going to be because of that drive. How do you let him do that to you? Beautiful football by IU and Mendoza to close out that game against Penn State this past week. Alabama and Georgia, I mean, there's nothing to say. They've improved throughout the season. Again, ups and downs. It's like, okay, are they, is this the same team, right? It's not really the same, but they're getting it done. And sometimes you got to get it done ugly. And they haven't been the pretty girl so far. They've been the pretty girl. They just look like the pretty girl who's past her prime. Let's say that. Ole Miss and Texas Tech. Texas Tech, what a big win against BYU. And that I said it last week. I didn't know who to pick in that one. Right. That was the one where it was like, dang, y'all right next to each other in rankings. Both of y'all really good football teams, but it ended up being by BYU coming out with the loss. Oregon is the other one. It's like, okay, what's going on? You guys look vulnerable after a very dominant season last year, your inaugural season in the Big Ten and running through everybody. You guys have looked very, very vulnerable. What's going on? They've still taken, care of business and being able to stay in the top 10. They're going to be in the college football playoff. Everything swings their way continuously. Notre Dame in Texas, it's the same thing. They've had rocky moments throughout the season. Marcus Freeman and his squad, it's like, oh, okay, what's going on, especially being in the college football championship last year. Y'all should not be starting off this way. Y'all should not be looking this vulnerable. Arch Manning with Texas, the injury bug has really plagued him in his season. But whenever he's been able to come back, he's been playing well. I can't knock the Texas Longhorns from that, nor Notre Dame. So I have Notre Dame, Fighting Irish, and the Texas Longhorns to round out my top 10. Now, Mr. John Mateer, again, this goes back to you, dog. Y'all could have been in my top 10, but I'm not putting y'all there because y'all ain't beat Texas. All right? Like, that's my biggest thing. I would easily put OU over Texas if they won, just a couple 3 weeks ago, but they didn't. So that's why I have them at number 11. They're still playing very well, though. We're going to continue to see how they progress throughout the season. And John Mateer, he's a very good quarterback, but when it comes down to the end of the season, I want to see how they're able to finish. BYU, tough loss last week versus Texas Tech. Yeah, more than a tough y'all got your doors knocked off. And I didn't expect that. I thought there was going to be some fight there. And it looked like that Texas Tech was able to just bully them. And BYU wasn't able to get anything that they wanted to get. I got Utah and I got Vanderbilt. I'm still a Diego Pavia believer. I know Bryson doesn't like that, but oh, well, it is what it is. I just love how Diego Pavia's team is ranked higher than Joey Aguilar's team, but that's neither here nor there. I got Miami at 15. Carson Beck and the Canes look dead. They don't look like much of a hurricane right now. They look like the small little baby tsunami that looks like it wants to form, but they don't know how to. They don't know if they want to. Why? Because it's Miami. I got a bunch of things to worry about other than football, apparently. I got USC and Georgia Tech. USC in their, second season coming over into the Big Ten, looking like a really nice addition. I still don't like the fact that they're over here. I'm not going to lie, because again, divisions have been an amazing thing of the Big Ten, and I get to see matches that I really want to see. And because USC wants to bring their behinds over here, I don't get to see those matchups, but it is what it is. It's okay. Again, I got Georgia Tech at 17. I got Michigan at 18, who I cannot wait to see at the end of the season. The battle of the young quarterbacks with Bryce Underwood and Julian Sayin is going to be a nice little. This is already one of the greatest rivalries in college football. I'm going to say it's the greatest. I've been told, it's the Red River Run between Texas and OU. I've said, I've heard it's, between Alabama and Auburn. But man, listen, I'm an Ohio State fan, so I'm always ride with Ohio State and Michigan. And I can't wait to see these two young quarterbacks battle it until they leave for the NFL. Louisville, y'all pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. I'm very disappointed in y'all. I really wanted to remove y'all from my top 25, but I already submitted my ballot, so I couldn't. But yeah, y'all irked me last night. And then I had the Virginia Cavaliers to round up my top 20. And then this bottom 5, man, Pitt, y'all, if Pitt can do a little something today against Oregon, that's going to, I want to see how they do. I want to see how Pitt is able to do. And then we got Iowa, Tennessee, again, Joey Aguilar, and your Tennessee Vols, Bryson. I love it, man. We got 14 days. I can't wait till November 29th, man, between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. That's going to be a game to watch. USF, look, I get Tim calling them a fake team. I get their biggest win being against Florida, but it's the same thing with Ohio State. It was the same thing with Oregon last year. It's the same thing with Alabama all the years that they were very dominant. Your strength of schedule, I can't knock, man. You take care of business of the people that's on your schedule. If it's easy, okay, cool, whatever. If it's hard, that's my thing. We look at you crazy if you have an easy schedule and you dominate, but then we also look at you crazy if you have a hard schedule and wondering why the heck you lose. I don't understand that. Like,
well, what
do we expect?
Yeah.
So, and then, the Cincinnati Bearcats to ride out my top 25.
That's fair, and I will say, since you brought it up and not me, 14 more days, guys, 14 more days, and we get to
Can we? What time is that game?
They haven't announced it yet. I think they'll probably announce it next week. If I had to guess, I would say probably 3:30. That feels like an afternoon game in Knoxville. We'll see. But yeah, Diego Pavia, after all that trash he talked about the balls in the offseason, and that young man's gonna get humbled. Okay. Anchor down. Is that what you're saying, Tim? Anchor down. Anchor down. Okay. I mean, let's worry about barely getting by Auburn in overtime before we worry about Tennessee. I'm just gonna say that. That was
what's the record again?
It's not going to be 10-2 when the season's over. I'll tell you what that
again.
What's our record?
Yeah.
It's 6-3, about to be 7-3 after New Mexico State.
What's Vanderbilt's record?
Okay, what's BYU's record? We can play this game as much as we want. I mean,
you want to talk so much smack, and I'm just saying, we're gonna be.
I'm just responding to Diego Pavia,
big guy.
I am responding to Diego Pavia after all that. We're the team in Tennessee. Like, bro, come on, man. Get a win in Neyland Stadium. Then you're the team in Tennessee, okay? So let's go and put up my top 25 list up here. Listen, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama. I'm in complete agreement with the committee. I did have Alabama over A&M, I will say, the last few weeks. But Texas A&M, here's, again, Ohio State and Indiana, self-explanatory. Quickly, I want to put all three, not all three guys back on the screen, but I think the catch by Omar Cooper Jr. last week is, can we agree that's the play of the year in college football, fellas, just before I continue?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was a hell of a play.
Game winning down. It was right there on the dot. And that's also the funny thing about playing like DB corners and stuff like that. Because when they showed the replay, because I was like, dang, he got fairly open in the back of the end zone. And when you look at his defender, right, eyes on the quarterback. And I'm like, man, that's why it's like, dang, man, I be wondering what y'all teach, because sometimes you just got to be aware of the situation. They have to score. So it's like, I get the quarterback is your main, but you've got a man right here who you have to defend. And with the way Mendoza was able to just get them downfield, you need to make sure your man is not And man, Omar Cooper was able to just slip right in behind. Oh, that was beautiful. That was pretty.
By a toenail.
It was unbelievable. But what a horrendous call by Gus Johnson on that play.
How dare you?
Are you kidding me?
Gus Johnson. How dare you?
Gus Johnson couldn't speak. His job is to speak, and he lost his voice. He blew that up. I mean, listen, all respect in the world to Gus Johnson. He's, been doing this for a very long time. But, I mean, for the love of all that is holy, that was atrocious. Atrocious.
Tim wants us to call like it's hole one at the Masters.
You can be excited like I am right now and keep it in your chest. You don't have to.
That's his brand, though. That's his brand, though, Tim.
No, it's a bull brand. I almost swore. That's ridiculous. If that is your brand, then you shouldn't be doing this at all. That is BS. Do this. Come on here. Go on Twitter. Go on Twitch. And that's where you make those calls. That's where you do this. Because he sounded like a freaking amateur who's never done this before and thinks excitement is absolutely going over the top. And then when you watch that entire drive, every single play was over the top. Everything was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And that play just solidified it. It was a joke.
I'm that close to muting you, Tim. How dare you disrespect
me? I dare you. I dare you. Horrendous call by Gus Johnson. Absolutely ruined a phenomenal catch and a phenomenal moment for Indiana.
Get back to my top 25 rankings after all this nonsense that Tim Barnard has spewed on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. No, but listen, Indiana's number 2. And A&M, I put them at the 3rd over Alabama after I've had Bama 3 the last few weeks because Bama's offense was left a lot to be desired against LSU last week, but also Texas A&M, folks. They've beaten 3 ranked teams. All of those ranked wins have come on the road. And by the way, they got to play Texas on the road on Black Friday. That's going to be one of the premier matchups, of rivalry week in a couple of weeks. Oregon at number 5, very impressed with a big-time win on the road last week against Iowa. I knocked Georgia down just a peg because the fact of the matter is, and this just may be reflected in my prediction later in the show, I'm not seeing the old Georgia that we've seen. They survive Auburn in a game that probably should have been 17-0. They beat Mississippi State to their credit, but there was some weird stuff going on in that game, and the defense didn't play well against Ole Miss. I'm not seeing the same Georgia that I've seen in years past. But we got Ole Miss in that number 7 spot. Again, Tim may have a potential announcement later, with the Florida Gators. We'll see. But Texas Tech at number 8, big time win against BYU. Very, very impressive by the Red Raiders. Looks like they're on pace to potentially win the Big 12 and get into the playoff. Notre Dame at 9. Again, just the hate that this program is getting. Listen, they lost 2 games against 2 good teams by the skin of their teeth. They've run the table from there. Okay, they beat USC. They very well could beat Pitt today. We'll see what happens with the Irish. But they're defending national champion runner-ups. Give them respect where it's due. Texas at number 10. Again, this is a team we talk about. If Steve Sarkisian is posing the question, could we get in or should we get in? As a 3-loss team, it tells you at Texas, they've been able to right the ship as of late. Arch Manning has played much better. Has developed very, very well over the course of the season. So Texas rounds out my top 10. Oklahoma at number 11, kind of to Arthur's point, John Mateer, man, they really messed up that mojo that they had going on with him playing in that Red River game against Texas. But still, Oklahoma going on the road to Tennessee. I was at that game. It was very, very hard to watch a couple of weeks ago. But for them to go on the road, play as well as they did, obviously, and do so with John Mateer only throw for 150 yards. It's a credit to their defense, which is one of the top defenses in college football. It's credit to their running game. They run the football very effectively, well-coached team. BYU falls number 12. Again, it's still all out ahead of the Cougars. They still can win the Big 12. They can still win out and get in the playoff, but a tough loss against Texas Tech last week. I like Michigan a lot. I really do. I like what they bring on both sides of the ball up front. Bryce Underwood's continue that development, and they'll get the biggest test ever against Ohio State in the game, as they call it, at a couple of weeks in the Big House. USC.
Hang on, my fault. Sorry for interrupting. 13?
I think they're that good. I think they're a very, very talented team, Arthur. I really do.
All right.
I'm saying, we'll see what happens in the big game. Y'all talking smack about Vanderbilt beating Tennessee. Let's Ohio State get a win against Michigan and Sharon Moore at some point, okay? But USC at number 14. Listen, Lincoln Riley's caught a lot of flack over the years, understandably so. But the fact of the matter is, Big Ten, they've handled it well. They've only got 2 losses. They're another team that can control their own destiny to get to the college football playoff. Georgia Tech at 15. The tough loss recently to NC State. I still really like Haynes King. I still think they're well coached. And again, we talk about tests in a couple of weeks. They're going to get their tests in a couple of weeks at home, mind you, in Atlanta against the Georgia Bulldogs. That game's also going to be Black Friday. That should be fun. Vanderbilt, number 16, that barely survived Auburn. Louisville, number 17. Again, it's just a shame that these ACC games with ranked teams happen, 12 hours before we go on the air. But Louisville losing last night, I'm very, very disappointed in the Cardinals, and their chances to win the ACC have pretty much been extinguished. Utah, number 18. Great team on some Saturdays and then kind of leave you scratch your head on others, but very talented. The Utes have done a good job this year. I think Miami's completely overrated, and I said it before the season in large part because Carson Beck is overrated. Lane Kiffin said it best. They gave this guy $4.3 million. Did they see him against us? As he said in the Pivot podcast earlier this year, and he was absolutely correct in that. Vols at number 20. Again, I'm almost ashamed that Tim had Tennessee ranked higher than I did. I don't know if that's SEC bias. I don't know what that is, but my Vols, listen. We really don't have a signature win this year. We're not necessarily going to get it today against New Mexico State, which I'll talk about in the Vol View in just a second. But we'll have a chance in a couple of weeks, and I think we will put belt to behind against the Vanderbilt Commodores. But that is my top 20, and then we're surrounded at the top 25. Been saying it all year. Virginia, they've been living on the edge. They've been living dangerously. And finally, the chickens come home to roost. They lose last week. And then they got a big game against Duke, in which they're underdogs. Iowa at number 22. I was very, very impressed. I thought Iowa was going to pull the upset coming into the game against Oregon, put up a heck of a fight at home in the rain. The Hawkeyes are playing good football this year. Pitt's got a big-time test today against Notre Dame at Acrisure Stadium. We'll see how they handle that. Notre Dame is a double-digit road favorite. USF, again, the respect of them. I get the fact that Florida, Boise State, not the best wins on the resume, but they have been the best non-Power 4 team this season. And Tulane, give them respect where it's due. They ended Memphis' season last week. I think Tulane's been playing good football this year, only a couple of losses. So that is my top 25 this week. And so we will now transition to the Vol View with yours truly, Bryson Carver. And the thing is for Tennessee, folks, is that the chances for the college football playoff, they're pretty much dead. They're gone. We talk about three lost teams from the SEC that could potentially get in. That seems like Texas. That's for teams that maybe if Georgia were to slip up, maybe the SEC championship game. There are a number of teams. I hate to say it, but as an unbiased, I shouldn't say unbiased. We're all biased to a certain degree, but as a diehard Vols fan, it's gone for us. You mean to tell me that if we win out, that our best win would be against Vanderbilt? Like, okay, decent win, but you lost to Georgia. Freaking Max Gilbert makes a kick. We beat Georgia. Lose to Alabama, the pick 60 in the first half, and the Oklahoma game a couple of weeks ago. You start at 7-0. It's looking great. And then Joey Aguilar, commits the first of 3 turnovers in the game. They're not able to stop the run, and Tennessee's college football playoff hopes end up being extinguished. But there's still some optimism for the future. The fact of the matter is, it's homecoming today. I'm wearing my smoky gray Tennessee Vols hoodie. In fact, go and show this helmet that you might see in the background. It's the Tennessee Vols smoky gray helmet, but you can see the great Smoky Mountains there in the background. Going to be wearing those today. And the uniforms are phenomenal. If you haven't seen them, look them up online. It's kind of like a salute to service type of thing that Tennessee is doing with their smoky grays this year. They look fantastic. Primetime Deion Sanders said it best. If you look good, you feel good, you play good, then you get paid good. I think Tennessee will feel all 4 of those things in Knoxville today against New Mexico State. They're a 40-point favorite. They should win comfortably. The question is, though, for Tennessee, can they be able to get a third 10-win season in 5 years under Josh Heupel? Right? If you could beat New Mexico State next week, I will be completely transparent. I would be lying if I said that Florida did not scare me, more than Vanderbilt. We haven't won in the swamp since 2003. Florida's been our rival for years, not Vanderbilt. So that does concern me a little bit. But if you can beat Florida, they're vulnerable, and then Vanderbilt at home, then you get a good bowl game, take care of business there. Boom. That's 10-win season once again for the Tennessee Volunteers. So we'll see what happens in that regard. I think Joey Aguilar needs to clean up the turnovers. That's the one thing I want to see from this offense. And this defense, look, you're going to get fresh red meat ahead of you with New Mexico State coming to town. Whether or not Tennessee can be able to get the job done as it relates to be able to get to the quarterback to force turnovers. That's kind of what they've lived off of this season. How does Tennessee look come out their second bye? Well-coached teams tend to look very good coming off of a bye. Josh Heupel, Tim Banks, the whole coaching staff. I'm still not a big believer in Joey Housley as the offensive coordinator. I wouldn't mind if Josh Heupel made a change at OC in the offseason. But listen, it isn't as if Tennessee fans were expecting a college football playoff berth once again. The fact that we were in as long as we were, okay, that shows to me Josh Heupel is capable of getting the absolute most out of the Chris Brazzell doing the same thing as well. So Tennessee's going to be in good shape moving forward. Win out, you get another 10-win season. And safe to say, 3 10-win seasons in 5 years, Vols fans haven't felt that in quite some time. But that's it for the Vol View. We will take a 1-minute break here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. But when we come back, the cover crew as well as Gator City. And later in the show, our game day picks on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. So stay tuned after this 1-minute break. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Podcast, the Saturday Morning Tailgate Podcast, live here on the Grid Network. I appreciate everybody stopping by on the Saturday morning. I think I've been dealing with some connection issues, so if that kind of goes in and out, then I apologize in advance. But it's now time for our cover crew featuring the BTA Trio, and we will start. Actually, I guess if we're gonna go in order, have we gone in order on BTA? I've just realized we haven't done that. So I guess
that's
we
on
got
the host. That's on the host.
That's on me. I will take the fall for that one, guys. My bad. So I'll go and put my pick up there. I've got Texas plus 4.5 at Georgia. Listen, I think this is an opportunity for Texas to make a big time statement. Against the Bulldogs, put themselves in position to make that college football playoff. They got a big game against A&M in a couple of weeks. So I do think they cover this 4.5 point spread. I think I'll take them in the points against the Georgia Bulldogs. And now it's time for Tim, what do you got here?
Go to Arthur. Give me a second here.
Okay, got you. What about you, Arthur?
Oh, come on now, man. Is this a question? Is this a real question? Man, when I saw that Nico thing came through, again, I sent prayers, but I was like, oh yeah.
When you said, it's good these guys no, it's not good that he has a concussion. I mean, we're not pulling for that. We don't want brain damage for our young athletes out there, but I'm just glad he's not playing. That's what I meant. God, that had me rolling. And yeah, Nico is out of this game, which is probably a good thing because you're right. He did, fight in the second half of that game against Ohio State, but that thing was, that game was over before it started. And I remember that day, Arthur, and then we'll go to Tim. I remember that was a late December day where your Ravens beat my Steelers and then your Buckeyes beat my Tennessee Volunteers. It was a great day for you and a terrible day for me. So it was a rough 24 hours. What about you, Tim? What's your pick?
So I'm taking Arizona money line at plus 165. I understand Cincinnati is the number 25 team in the country. They are at home. But I don't know. I kind of got this gut feeling that Arizona might pull this out. I mean, when you look at it, it's basically going to come down to Cincinnati's offense versus Arizona's defense. And while Cincinnati has a pretty good offense, 31st in overall yards per game, 25th in rush yards per game, 20th in scoring. Arizona's defense, 17th in the FBS at overall yards per game, only allowing 302 yards. They're 7th in pass yards at 160.1. They are 26th in scoring at 19.9. And Arizona ranks 10th in the FBS with a +8 turnover margin. So I don't know. I kind of feel there might be a sneaky upset brewing tonight or this afternoon.
I like the confidence there. I love the fact, I'm going with the big games tonight, and Tim's going with the ranked team, and Arthur's just sticking with the Buckeyes, man. I respect loyalty. It is, as the great Jim Nantz says, it's a tradition unlike any other. Arthur going with the Buckeyes is 1,000-point favorites against overmatched Big Ten teams. It's a beautiful thing to see, and you can always count on every.
You wonder why I say the SEC is the best conference.
I mean, geez, Ohio State, would they win like 8 games in the SEC? My gosh, I mean, who knows if they'd even survive in this conference? Of course, we're playing. All right, let's go into Gator City. It's now time for Gator City with Tim Barnard. Tim, potential announcements here for the Florida Gators, correct?
That is correct, sir. You have there it is. The white screen is back. Come on, Bryson. Thought we fixed this already.
My bad.
No, you're good. No, listen. Is there much to talk about with the Florida Gators? No, absolutely not. Outside of the fact that there have been Twitter reports that a deal could be finished for the head coach of the next head coach of the Florida Gators. And who's it going to be? I'm not going to say because I know it's Twitter. People can buy, the blue check marks now. So it's not even a real thing anymore if you want to argue that. But people are saying that as of tomorrow, we are going to find out who the next head coach of the Florida Gators is. Part of that is allegedly you are not able to bet on who the next head coach of the Florida Gators is going to be. That is over, which means maybe we got our guy. Maybe we have the next head coach of the Florida Gators, hence the white smoke, the white shirt. The white smoke is up. I don't want to speculate on the show who's it going to be. All I know is that I am very intrigued to see what happens not only tonight, but tomorrow, because we are playing Ole Miss. And if it is Lane Kiffin, how wild would that be? We play them today, and all of a sudden tomorrow, Lane Kiffin's our head coach. I'm not saying it is. I'm not jumping down that rabbit hole. But all I know is you can't bet on who the next head coach of the Florida Gators is anymore. And there are several people speculating that we're going to be hearing news tomorrow on who that is. So all I can say is, yeah, I hope it's Lane Kiffin. I hope it's a done deal. I hope that he's our next guy, because how perfect would that be? The reason why he wears the visor is because of Steve Spurrier. He is the perfect villain that we need in Gainesville to talk smack, to go on Twitter, to roast teams. And we can give him all the necessary money that he wants for NIL. And guess what? We actually show up to the games, unlike the students at Ole Miss. Whether we are playing Long Island University or we're playing Alabama, Georgia, or any other school at the Swamp, we will be there every single game. I think it's going to be electric. If he does become my next head coach, it's going to be so much fun. So I don't know. Stay tuned. Keep your phones close, because there might be some breaking news tomorrow. We got white smoke. So it's going to be a fun one. And listen, stick around. This is it for Gator City, but we will be back in a brief minute to give you our game day picks. So stick around for our favorite segment. And as always, go Gators. It's in all kinds of weather. We all stick together. Let's go. Come on.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast, live here on the Grid Network via YouTube and on X. Man, I'm very disappointed, Tim, that you did not blame me for again for the Florida Gators loss.
I don't need to talk about that.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. This season didn't happen.
It might have gotten you Lane Kiffin though.
So hold on, real quick, because I hate these during the season, especially as a youngin. So like, how does this work again? Because I can't remember the last.
I don't
time
know.
this happened.
I don't know. Again, well, when the news drops tomorrow, whoever it is, if it is Lane Kiffin, from the reports that I've read, it sounds like Lane Kiffin will not be coaching the college football playoff. I don't know. I am not a reporter. I do not have inside sources. I am just reading what I see on Twitter, which again, I know full well it's not a reliable source. You get people who are buying blue check marks left and right just to screw with people. I totally understand that. I am just saying, from what I've read, that if it is, maybe that is what happens. I couldn't tell you though otherwise. So don't shoot me. I am just and listen, if it turns out to be fake, don't blame me either. Don't say I fell for it, because I didn't fall for anything. I've been prefacing this entire time that I know nothing.
Let's say it is true. Let's say it is true, right? You know, he gets the job. Do you know how pissed I would be as a player?
Oh yeah.
Congrats for getting the job. But we still got a season left. Like, what you mean you're not coaching the college football playoff?
Well, the one thing I will say is, first of all, in terms of coaches leaving, in crazy situations, he wouldn't be the first guy to do that.
No,
Bryson, you know full well the Lane Kiffin experience.
Oh yeah, very well.
But the
left us in the middle of the night.
I will say though, it's crazy, it's unprecedented. But here's the thing though: if you have an opportunity to go to your dream school, like again, part of Kirby Smart going to Georgia, right? Now I understand Kirby was a DC at Bama and so on and so forth, but if you have an opportunity to go to your dream school to coach at the place where you idolize their coach and want to take after him, and hell, he had his first date with his wife in Gainesville. So he met his wife in Gainesville. So there's a lot of sentimental reasons for it. And not to mention all the times this season, he has called out Ole Miss and Ole Miss fans for not showing up. Yep. Whereas where we have sucked, we still sell out the Swamp every single week. And again, looking at it that way, you want to be prepared for the transfer portal. You need to get in and start right away to get that signing period done, to keep the recruits you want to keep, or tell them to hit the road and go find another school and bring in the guys you want to bring in. So I don't know if it is the case. If that is, then it's a double-edged sword, because you still have the rest of your season to play, but that's going to go on till mid-January, and you're going to lose out on the entire, portal experience in your first time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the first one to do this, somebody's going to be the first one to do this, because going to a new school, a school you want to be at, that's going to give you all the resources possible, don't you want to be there in time to at least get transfer portal?
It just sucks because Ole Miss is
I know. Oh, trust me. I no matter what school, and it would benefit Florida, and I'm going to be elated about that. But I also have a heart. I can look at Ole Miss and be like, damn, that does suck. Here's your guy, here's your captain, here's your leader.
Because we've never had a guy. We've had coaches leave, like we were talking about before the show, like Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley. We've never had a coach leave right before the playoff starts like that. That would be unprecedented. So like that, that would be a gut punch for Ole Miss. But then again, maybe you should show up to more games. Maybe there's some responsibility.
They were top 10. They were top 5, and they didn't show up to games.
Yeah.
Dude.
Wild.
It's crazy. All right, let's go and get into our game day. Let's go and get our game day picks. First game is going to be played at Wrigley Field in Chicago between the Michigan Wolverines and Northwestern. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
Give me Michigan. Northwestern's actually had a much better season than I gave them credit for.
Yeah.
But give me the Wolverines.
Arthur?
Michigan, dog. Come on now. Northwestern is just for smart people.
Facts. I'm also going with Michigan as well. Listen, I'm obviously higher on the Wolverines than anybody in this show. I just think they match up well up front on both sides of the ball, so I think the Wolverines get it done at Wrigley Field. Up next, USF, a team that Tim has gone at their neck, and a team he's given a lot of love. Navy. USF versus Navy. Who do you like in this one, Tim?
I'm gonna stick with America's team. Give me Navy.
Okay. Well, a quick question before we go to Arthur. So what does this do for the group of 5? Does it mean Tulane's got a path now? I guess it does. I mean, they technically would have a path.
No, it means Navy has a path.
Oh, that's right. No, that's
no one's given Navy love. I mean, every team Navy is number 1 in the American Conference right now.
They are.
And no one ever talks about them. Everyone's like, oh, USF or Tulane or everybody else. Not Cincinnati, but whoever. Memphis, thank you. It's those teams. Yet, Navy was undefeated.
Well, they'll be on the map if they win this game. That's for sure. Who do you like in this one, Arthur?
Dude, I've said it before. Ain't no team that all they do is run the same play every single time, and every team knows it's coming. It's going to win. I got USF, but if Navy wins, if Navy were to somehow pull this off,
they're at home.
Arthur, this isn't the same Navy team that you grew up with. This isn't Ken.
True, but
what's his name? But he was their former head coach. He was the one who ran the triple option every single play, and it was just like you either know it or you don't, and you can stop it or you can't. And now they have a new guy in. They're not running the same scheme anymore.
That's fair.
Every single play.
I've got the Bulls in this matchup again. They need to pile up as many wins as possible and do so in as convincing a fashion as possible, especially with Navy again being at home, being at the top of the American Conference. Give me USF in this game. Tim's moneyline game is next. You got Arizona going on the road to Cincinnati. Who do you like here, Tim?
I already read the stats off. Give me Arizona.
What about you, Arthur?
I'm not mad at that pick, but I'm gonna have to go Cincinnati.
I'm going Cincinnati as well. Again, they're a funky team in the top 25. They make some, weird mistakes in some of these big games, the Big 12, but I'll still take Cincinnati to win this game. Up next, NC State, fresh off a big-time upset win against Georgia Tech, going on the road to Miami. Who do you like here, Tim?
I'm taking Miami. I don't like it, but I'm taking them.
Okay. You taking them, Arthur?
Yeah, I can't see this happening 2 weeks in a row. I can't.
It would be shocking because NC State has gotten blown out in games this season like that. That last game against Georgia Tech fell a little fluky. Miami needs to pile up again as many wins as possible just to give themselves a prayer's chance of getting in the playoff, of winning the ACC. So I've got the Hurricanes winning this one. Up next, a game we actually ironically talked about during last week's picks. Virginia going on the road against Duke. Who do you like here, Tim?
I'm sticking to my word. I am taking Duke. As I said last week, Virginia's primed for a fall. And this week is going to be it.
Arthur?
I'm going to have to ride with you, what you guys been saying. I'm going to have to go with Duke here.
A clean sweep. We've all got Duke winning this game. Now, again, they are favored to win, to be fair. But, yeah, listen, Virginia's been living on the edge for a while. Again, the chickens have come home to roost in that regard. Up next, Utah versus Baylor in the Big 12. And funny enough, Tim, you didn't even submit me a pick. You didn't send me the pick for this game.
You know what? I was just looking at that. You're like, Baylor, what? I was just looking for it. Oh, damn. All right. Well,
I've already got one graphic ready, so I hope you pick them.
All right. Well, yeah, I didn't submit several picks. Well, who are we talking about? Baylor?
Utah versus Baylor.
All right. Give me Utah.
Okay, thank God, because I already had that in advance. Thank God. Okay, fantastic. So we just had that ready to go. Arthur, who do you like here? Frozone, he's back. Here we go. Not Terminator, Frozone. Okay.
Wake up.
Come on. He is totally okay. I'll just go and put up Arthur's pick. Arthur did have Utah winning this game. Oh, now Arthur's gone. Oh no, this is a disaster. I've also got Utah winning this game. Listen, they've been inconsistent in the Big 12, but Utah desperately needs a win. Hopefully, we can get Arthur back in the mix. Wait, we got him back. Here we go. Arthur, he is back. Here we go. We put your pick in for you, buddy. I'm sorry.
There it is.
Which one?
Now you're
Utah.
back.
We put Utah in for you, so you're good.
You're Utah. I got the Utah.
All right.
Back.
Another big time matchup of the Big 12. TCU versus BYU. Who do you like here, Tim?
BYU coming off that loss. I think they're going to bounce back.
You like them too, Arthur?
BYU. They have to. That was you. It's all about how you lose too, right? It's not just about you losing. It's how you lose. It's like, come on now, dog. Like this. Come on.
It's a bad performance, but the good news for the Cougars is they still control, their own destiny. They still, if they can run the table, they'll get in the playoff as the Big 12 champion. I think they understand that, so I'm going to take BYU to win this game. Up next, a game to test Tim's objectivity. The Florida Gators going on the road against Ole Miss. It could be playing their future head coach as soon as 24 hours from now. Who knows? Who do you like here, Tim?
I am taking Ole Miss in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if, with all the rumors and all the distractions, that somehow, some way, Florida pulls this out, and it actually gives Lane Kiffin an easier peace type of, easier way to leave.
Let's just sit back for a moment before we go to Arthur's pick.
Oh, please.
No, just wait. We're 10 episodes in, and this is the first time that any of us have picked against our team. So let's just take a moment to understand what is.
I'm pretty sure I've already picked against the Gators.
I don't think you have. I don't think you picked against Florida this year. Yeah, I mean, you picked them to be. Sure. Did you pick A&M against them?
I probably did.
Either way, it's still a sad moment for the show. It just shows that Florida's fall apart, but maybe they'll be back next year. Arthur, who do you like here?
Dog, this is Ole Miss, but this is turning into a ridiculous story. It's turning into a crazy story. I don't like it. It's messy. It's drama filled. I really like man. Just as a youngin on that team,
that's what makes a great show.
No, for sure. No, for
love it, embrace it.
Hey, it's great for our show.
I'm just saying that
I don't care about the rest of it. It's great for us. It gives us ratings.
Nasty
That's
work.
What matters. The ratings.
100%. Yeah, Ole Miss wins big. Florida's dead in the water. If you get blown up by Kentucky, you really are. You might actually be worse than Kentucky. Iowa going on the road against USC. Really interesting matchup in the Big Ten. I went back and forth on this one. Who do you like here, Tim?
Kind of similar with Arizona. I think it comes down to USC's offense versus Iowa's defense. Both top 10 in the country on either side. So it's going to be interesting. Otherwise, the other sides, they're not good. So I'm going to go with the upset. Give me Iowa. Give me the Hawkeyes. Give me the real Big Ten team.
All right. How about you, Arthur?
I'm going to have to go with Iowa as well.
I'm going to go USC. Again, they're at home. Jaden Maiave, rather, is one of the more talented quarterbacks in college football. Again, USC's another team that could very well control their own destiny to make the playoff. They play Oregon next week, so they could put themselves in a spot to really kind of shoot up the rankings, but they need to. No. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just saying they could in theory. But they need to get this game, and I think they will against the Hawkeyes. Game is kicking off in about 20 minutes or so. Notre Dame on the road at Acrisure Stadium against Pitt. Listen, honestly, we'll all make our picks. I don't care who wins the game. Just don't tear up the field so bad that the Steelers are slipping and sliding all over the place tomorrow. That's all I care about. But anyways, who do you like here?
Do me a favor. Go back to calling it Heinz Field. Please stop this Acrisure crap.
It's ridiculous.
Otherwise, give me Notre Dame.
100%. Put the Heinz ketchup back in the stadium. 100%. Who do you like here, Arthur?
I got Notre Dame. At some point in time, Jeremiah Love is going to need a statement game if he's going to, really compete for that Heisman. Because the people in front of him, Gunnar Stockton, I don't really like that one. But everybody else, I believe, is fair with, Sam Mendoza, Jeremiah Smith. But Gunnar Stockton got to get. You said what?
It's Mendoza's to lose.
Agreed. He's playing best football now, and he's already had a Heisman moment.
That drive last week was his Heisman moment.
On the road at Penn State. I don't care how bad the Nittany Lions are. That is still one of the toughest places to go play in college football. I agree. But Jeremiah Love is having a great season. I think Notre Dame gets the W in this spot. Again, they knew what the assignment was after they started 0-2. Hey, guys, we got to run the table. They're in position to do so, and they need to get a notable win here against Pitt. I think they will. Oklahoma on the road against Alabama. Huge matchup in the SEC today. Who do you like here, Tim, from Tuscaloosa?
Roll Tide.
Okay. Arthur.
It's going to be Roll Tide.
I'm not going to say those two words because that goes against my my belief in the Tennessee Vols in every sense of the word. But I think Alabama wins. They had a bad offensive game last week, and I know there's kind of Oklahoma's got a great defense. I think Ty Simpson, the crew, Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams are going to show up to the party and get the job done. Finally, what a game tonight. Texas on the road against Georgia in between the hedges in Athens. Who do you like here in this spot, Tim?
I hate both teams. I don't like the Manning family.
Hey, relax.
The 33rd team in the NFL? Come on.
Dare you. You go.
Give me the Longhorns.
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
I am deciding between the lesser of two evils. And Georgia, I hate Georgia.
Oh, I know you definitely hate Georgia, but let me ask you this. Does this now mean Florida's win over Texas is a real top 10 win now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, there you go. I respect it. Arthur, you haven't been terribly high on either of teams. You talk about how Arch, you could tell that he's the nephew and not the son, and Georgia doesn't have the same aura they've had. So again, this is kind of a lesser two evils for you too, man.
Yeah, this is Georgia's game. I believe Georgia wins this game. I believe it is going to be a dogfight, but it's going to be a testament of what Georgia team are you going to be the rest of the season? Are you going to be that one where it was like, they've looked dominant, especially on both sides of the ball? Kirk Smart isn't playing any games. Or are you just going to let Texas come in here and let Arch Manning do what he does?
Let's see. The dog have a pick?
Yeah, she's taking the Longhorns.
Oh, she's taking the long. Okay.
She doesn't like Bulldogs.
Oh, that's good truth. She doesn't. I've got Texas winning this game. I think Arch Manning, this is his big time moment to show the country, hey, I've arrived. I'm one of the top quarterbacks in college football. They're going to go on the road. They're going to beat Georgia. Texas runs the table. They're indisputably in the playoff, and I think they will. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing from Georgia as of late. With that is all the time we have for today's show. Appreciate everybody stopping by as always. Catch the Saturday Morning Tailgate next week as always, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time, live here on the Grid Network via YouTube and via X. Enjoy what is going to be just a delightful day in college football. YouTube TV and ESPN signed a deal. Thank God.
Finally.
They're back. It's about time. We got the quad
ESPN
screen.
Finally caved. Thank
Finally. It took what, 2-3 weeks, but we finally got it back. So all college football, all is right, with the world. Hopefully Tennessee can get a W. Hope everyone has a great week.
Don't you love when rich people argue with each other about money?
It's great. I mean, it's fantastic.
We pay the friggin' price for it. Always.
Tales old as time, guys. Tales old as time. There's no question about that. We will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Everybody stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out.
God bless.